Hello everybody, and today I'll be talking about the best lenses for a beginner photographer. So if you just took up photography, you would be overwhelmed by how many lenses there are actually in the market. So you might not know which one you actually should get and which one not to get. Now it can be very confusing because there's a lot of lenses and they don't really come cheap. Some of those lenses cost a lot and a lot. Some of them don't cost that much, but they are still significant money. So today I'm here to share with you 7 of my picks that I think are the best lenses for those who are just taking up on photography. So these lenses that I've picked are based on what I think are the best balance between price, functionality and practicality. So without further ado, let's jump into the best standard zoom lenses. Now assuming you're a beginner photographer, most likely you have crop censored body. So these standard zoom lenses are APS-C only. So these two standard zoom lenses are both from Sigma. I recommend the Sigma 17-70 f2.8 to f4. Now this lens is sort of like a Super 18-55, not exactly a Super 18-55, but to me the 18-55 just simply isn't enough for some kinds of photography. The Sigma 17-70 is going to be a much better choice than the 18-55. Not only it has a longer range, it also has a better aperture range. It's f2.8 to f4. So at the wide end, you have a f2.8 aperture, which is fairly bright. And at the most tele end, you have a f4. Not like most entry-level zoom lenses whereby the aperture at the longest end is f5.6. This is only a f4. That's one stop brighter than the f5.6s. So this will save your butt on a lot of lower light conditions, because with say in 18-55 you really need a lot of light to get some good usable images. When it dims down a little bit, you would be forced to bump up your ISO. With this lens you can keep your ISO 1 or 2 stops down compared to using something like the 18-55. Apart from the Sigma 17-70, there is also the Sigma 17-50 f2.8. Now this is more like a 24-70 f2.8 in the pro range. However, the 17-50 f2.8 is going to be a great alternative to a 18-55 or even the 17-70. Although it has a slightly reduced range, however it has a constant f2.8 throughout the whole zoom range. So the f2.8 is going to be good if you're looking for those shallow depth of field shots, also known as bokeh. The f2.8 will give you much more bokeh than the Sigma 17-70, and also f2.8 is very useful in low light. So in low light, an f2.8 aperture is going to be really handy because it lets in a lot more light compared to say a f4 standard zoom. So the f2.8 is going to be a lifesaver in low light. Moving on, we have the best entry-level wide-angle lenses. Now to be honest, there aren't actually much choices because if you're on an APS-C body, there aren't many ultra-wide-angle lenses around. However, the first pick of mine is the Canon EF-S 10-18. Now this is more of a budget lens compared to other choices. Now the Canon 10-18 is a relatively new lens, however it is really low priced. However, for the performance it delivers, it's definitely much more than the price you pay because it is a 10-18 mm. The widest end is 10 mm, which is equivalent to 16 mm on a full frame, which is already in the ultra wide category. So the 10-18 is a very simple lens, very cheap lens. Don't expect it to perform like a pro lens, but it will perform very well, the 10-18. The image quality is mediocre, however good enough for most circumstances. Apart from the 10-18, there is also the Tokina 11-16 f2.8. This is a slightly higher end lens. It costs significantly more than the 10-18 and it's more around the 10-22 USM price range. However, I didn't pick the 10-22 because I think the Tokina is going to be better than the 10-22. Although it has a slightly reduced range of only 11-16 mm, but it has a constant f2.8 across the entire zoom range. Again, 2.8 over f3.5 to 4.5 on the 10-22 and a f4.5 to 5.6 on the 10-18. So again, it is a lot more light. You can always stop down if you don't need the f2.8, but still the f2.8 is something nice to have. And based on comparisons, the 11 to 16 also appears to be more sharp compared to the 10 to 18 or the 10 to 22. Moving on, we have the best telephoto lens in the budget range, and that is the EF-S 55 to 250 IS STM. Now there is a micro motor version, however I would recommend the STM version because with the STM version it simply focuses faster and has internal focusing, and it is a little less glitchy than the micro motor, because micro motor lenses, the entire lens actually turns mechanically, so the entire lens changes in length and then you have the focus ring turning around as it focuses, so it's more prone to failure, and it is also slower than STM, so I would prefer STM. Now 55 to 250 is by no means a professional telephoto lens, however the range it gives you is really good. It even has more range than a 70 to 200 lens. However, it is a variable aperture lens. It is a f4.5 to is a f4 to 5.6, so by no means this is a lens for low light. So this lens would be a great performer if you are using it in bright light, usually bright sunshine. So in bright sunshine, this lens can give you some really amazing results. The image quality from this lens is not very bad at all. It is a great telephoto lens and it's pretty much all you are going to need in your early days of photography. Moving on, we have a standard prime lens. A standard prime is pretty much a must-have for photography. Without a doubt, the 50mm 1.8 is a very cheap lens, the cheapest lens in the Canon EF lens lineup. So 50mm 1.8, the Nifty 50, also known as Plastic Fantastic. It is a very plasticky lens. Don't expect anything out of the build quality. It is a pretty horribly built lens because it is simply just so plasticky. However, despite the somewhat poor build quality, the image quality from this lens says otherwise. When you stop it down, this lens is very sharp and wide open, although it might not give you the most sharpest results ever in f1.8. However, it does give you a very nice pleasant bokeh. It is a very cheap lens and it delivers quite a lot of performance because with this lens you can expand your creativity in photography by a lot. So the 50mm f1.8 is definitely a lens every beginner photographer should have. You might question why at first, but after you get it, you would just realize how much this lens can actually do for your photos. They can expand your creativity by so much more. You get to experience the joy of shooting with a prime lens, and etc. Now, apart from the 50mm, there is also a 35mm. Now, I'm recommending the 35mm f2 lens. Now, the 35mm f2 is a rather old lens. It's more expensive compared to 50mm because 35s are generally just more expensive than 50s. Now, a 35mm is going to be wider than a 50mm. It will also give you less bokeh than a 50mm. However, on a APS-C size sensor, 35mm is pretty much as close as you can get to a 50mm on a full frame. So the field of view you get from a 35mm is going to be really great. Now, in fact, this video is right now shot on a 35mm focal length. So that is it, everyone. These are my opinions on the 7 best lenses for beginner photographers. If you have any questions and comments, just post them in the comment section below. Do share with me as well what you think are the best budget entry-level lenses. Until then, I will see you in the next video.